Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Ryan. I'm a full-time reseller on eBay and Poshmark, and I just hit $100,000 in sales on eBay. And here's a couple of things I've learned. The first thing I learned is definitely be consistent on eBay. Consistently post. For me, when I was part-time, I only posted 10 a day. So I went full-time in March of this year, which is 2025 right now. And basically I would constantly post 10 a day. Then when I went full-time, really, I probably starting in April, I started posting 30 a day, and I constantly posted 30, and my sales would be, I noticed an increase in sales that I started like selling about roughly around 15 a day. And then I was noticing I got nifty at that time, and I could really see like my profit and losses. And that's when I was noticing, like, man, I'm making like $3 here, $5 here, and I'm doing all this work. So another thing I kind of learned from that was I really got to focus on better quality items. As of right now, my store is at 27,000 items. I did decrease the amount of listings I do a day to 20, but better quality items. And I didn't see a decrease in the amount I sell per day. I'm still selling on average around 15 items a day, and that's just the average. Some days it's 11, sometimes it's 20. I think realistically the highest amount of items I've sold in one day is 23 this year. But so staying around that 20 items a day, definitely, I think that's kind of a sweet spot for me anyways. I may increase it to 25 later on, but I really want to focus on just better items. So I mainly do men's clothing, and I switched to men's clothing in September of 2024. I've sold on eBay for roughly almost 10 years, kind of off and on, kind of mainly focusing on comics, cards, collectibles, things like that, kind of just nerd memorabilia stuff. And I did it just kind of as more for fun, because I would post it on eBay, but I would also go to a lot of like comic conventions and set up there, and when I sold it I would take it off eBay, things like that. There's a lot of like package and move, and man, that was pretty exhausting but it was a lot of fun. The community from or where around I live, great people in the community, and they're very supportive and help each other out. I was actually invited to, even though I'm a clothing seller now, one of my friends that owns a shop, I guess a toy store really, but owns a shop, he actually asked me, hey, I'm having this mini con and seeing if you wanted to set up a table. And I was like, man, I really appreciate it, but I really don't have that kind of stuff anymore. And he's like, well, if you wanted to, you could bring some shirts or things like that. And I told him, like, I'll think about it. I ended up not bringing anything. Me and my family, we all went and just kind of said hi to friends and everything, because we were in that community for so long, especially before we had kids, and our oldest kid is 8 now. So we've known these people for almost 10 years, or pretty much 10 years, and they're just great people. So, but another thing I've kind of learned is the connections too is very important. Yes, I get most of my items from thrift stores, but just like being in that community and telling people, hey, this is what I do. I've had people reach out to me, to whether buy their stuff or just give me some of their stuff, which has kept some of my prices down. But I feel like you really got to be selective on the items you're willing to touch. If you're touching items and they're just, holding up in your store doing nothing, it's not gonna, it's just taking up space realistically. And I've learned to kind of say no. No is one of the most powerful things, and that you can do is like, no, this is not worth my time. And I think you really got to understand that it's okay to be vocal. The better you can get at saying no, the better I think you will be at reselling, in my opinion. So like when I go into a thrift store, sometimes I don't pick up a single item, and sometimes I pick up, 30 items. So, but it's all about like kind of saying like to yourself, is it one for me? One, is this going to flip fast? Or two, is this going to, in my opinion, make me $20 and it's going to sell within the next couple months? So I say no a lot of the time. I think you got to say no to a lot of things. So, and I really feel like this has kind of helped me reach to that $100,000 in sales, but I feel like it could be better. I feel like I should be proud that within my first year of doing this, I have reached the $100,000 in sales. And I keep saying in sales, this is not profit. And I feel like that's the main kicker here, is, which I know I'm still learning. I would love to reach to that $100,000 in profit, because if you kind of see my breakdown of reaching $100,000, almost half of it went to eBay shipping fees, or not eBay shipping fees, but the post office, then other eBay fees like promotion, things like that. Whereas like my net sales was just barely over half of the 100,000. So I also do sell on Poshmark and do some Facebook Marketplace. I don't really like doing Facebook Marketplace because I don't like to wait around on people to meet up. And it's not meeting people, it's the waiting. And where I live, the address always takes them 3 miles down the road. I don't know why, but it does. And so reaching that $100,000 in sales, like, yeah, it should be exciting. But I always feel like I can do more, and I know I could do more. But also I made this jump to be full-time to kind of be happier. And I am happier. I am way happier than I was previously. I'm way less stressed. My wife can see it. I get to spend more time with my kids. I can be more active with them, which is great. And I think that's kind of worth way more. So, this is my first year, so I'm still learning along the way. I am not saying I am an expert by any means, but I feel like, I'm doing a good job, but there's still room for improvement. The thing I'm doing right now to kind of like tweak to, be better is these sales I go to, like Salvation Army does a half off sale today. I'll go, but I'm not picking up all the stuff that I used to pick up. And I think I'm better off that way. And I'm focusing more on those, either one, it's brand heavy and it's got a good sell through, or two, it's gonna make me $20 or more, and I believe I can sell it within a year. And I feel like that's a good business model for me anyways, because, just even today, I've sold a couple of things, but two things I want to point out is I sold 2 pair of pants, and they both went for $20 a piece. But each of them, I only paid $1, and because I got them at Goodwill on Dollar Day. So $1 into $20, and not realistically, I'll probably make 16 on it. I felt like that's a pretty decent pickup. And I really want to focus on more items like that, instead of what I was doing when I first started was I'm just picking up, here's $5, here's $3. I just feel like it's not really worth my time. And a lot of people, you might say like, hey, $16 isn't even worth it. Well, for me, it is right now, as I am still learning. I may tweak it in the future of like, hey, I'm not picking up anything unless I know I can make $20 or more. I am just a solo operation, and the more and more this goes on, I feel like I get better and better. I truly do. And I'm starting to build a route where I can, basically source every day. And I really think that if I can source almost every day, I say every day, I'm thinking like normal business is of Monday through Friday. I do only on Saturdays and Sundays. All I really do is package and list my drafts, because through the week I make drafts for the weekend so I can enjoy the weekends with my family. Occasionally Saturdays I do hit up a couple of like flea markets in my area, but they're honestly, you can tell everyone's kind of a professional reseller there, or somewhat, and they're all posting eBay prices. So I can look through the whole place and I'm only finding one item. I do travel about 2 hours away is the furthest I travel to the next biggest city to me. If I wanted to travel about 4 hours away, I have two big cities, which is one is Dallas and one is Kansas City. And gosh, I could probably throw those into rotation maybe once a month or something. I think that would be good. Or even every other month, like, hey, this month I'm going to go to Dallas, and then this month I'm going to go to Kansas City, and alternate that. The town I live in, it's fairly small. I mean, it's a decent size. It's not like some cities. It's still a city. And I live on the outskirts, so to get to my Goodwill bins, which just opened up earlier this year, which was almost perfect timing, and they literally opened up almost like as soon as I started full time, which was great. But the Goodwill bins kind of sometimes is last resort, because it is a lot of trash, a lot of trash. But some of my highest sales have come from the Goodwill bins, and so I'm not knocking it at all. I have literally found a Detroit Carhartt jacket. I have found a Phantom of the Opera monkey that went to Japan that didn't even work, but they still paid good money for it. So I've even found a vintage radiator cap there, and sold it, and it didn't weigh that much. So I mean, I have found some great things at the Goodwill bins, and so I'll keep going there just to find those diamond in the rough kind of items. But I really don't want to pick up items unless I know I'm going to, at least list it for $20 or more, and I know I'm going to make at least $20 on it. So that's kind of my main goal, is like, I'm going to list it for over $20 of what I paid. I will still accept offers within reason, but I feel like that's my main goal right now. And I'm going to just look for items that's going to make me $20, or I'm going to list for $20 over the price, and I will still accept offers, which would end up giving me sometimes around that $16 mark. So I feel like that's a pretty good business model for me going forward. And yeah, I think that's what I'm going to focus on right now. So, but these are a couple of things that I've learned in reaching this 100,000, and my next goal is to actually get to, realistically, I don't think this year I'm gonna hit the 100,000 in net sales, because even the net sales isn't profit. But I feel like my next goal will probably be 70, which it's possible. We're in Q4. I think I'm gonna try to make 75. Let's shoot for 75 in net sales is the next goal, and then from there 75 in profit, and then after that we'll go try to shoot for 100,000 in profit or net sales. Then we'll shoot for 100,000 in profit. I feel like that's a lot, but it is possible. There's plenty of people that do it. I don't really know if I will be able to do it just staying around in my city like I do, but we'll definitely give it a shot. And you know, we're gonna tweak things to see what works best for us. So, but anyways, if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. I know I'm definitely a better reseller than YouTuber right now, so I don't really have that many people watching, but I really appreciate anybody that makes it this far in the video that just wants to hear my journey. So I really appreciate you guys, and if you could give the video a like, go ahead and comment, you know, something about your journey to 100,000, or if you've already reached 100,000, I would love to hear your story. So if you could subscribe to kind of catch more material like this, and because I just want to kind of share my journey. I'm not really trying to teach people of like, this is how you need to do it. I just want to kind of share my journey of reselling. So, but once again, thank you again. I really appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.